up this morning, right? Like it was definitely that. But it's a new month. I truly believe that it's a clean slate for everybody. Some people
Absolutely.
say, hey, it's new month, new me. Topic today, let's talk about it. New month, maybe same me. Let's crush it today, Jeff.
Yeah, let's do it.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
I want to say good morning to Jenny. She's been number one this whole week, so we're so happy to see you out here. And yeah, let's do it. Let's get right into it. But
Let's do
Jeff, last night was definitely Halloween. I know things are definitely changing because we probably had like 5 kids come, and that was saying a lot. What
Yeah,
about you?
no, nobody. Seriously,
Yeah.
like I was saying, 2 weeks ago, or not this past weekend, but the weekend before, in the church parking lot, they had a trunk or treat, and the place was loaded. I mean, it was like going up to people's homes. They had all these blow up castles and ghoulies and everything, and lights all over places, like generators going. It was hilarious, and all the kids, they looked like they had a lot of fun, but there was a lot of traffic in front of the house, so it was good, man, not bad. But they never came to the house.
Yeah, they didn't.
Not
We kept the lights on. I don't know if my dogs were kind of scaring them because they were barking, but
uh,
but like they were the kids that did come, they were so adorable, and we're just so happy to be part of that because as a kid growing up, your goal as an adult is to give like those full size chocolate bars or the full
yeah.
size bags of chips, right? You're like, forget the Halloween stuff. I'm gonna ball out when I'm as well. Everybody in the comments, how did your Halloween go? Let us know if your kids or yourself, you guys kind of dressed up as well. But Jeff, today I want to kind of talk about like it's a new month, it's a new mind shift, and for me, I was reading into habit trackers. I'm a
Mhm.
big person in believing in, hey, what's going on, Dan?
There
But
we go.
looking at habit trackers for myself, just to kind of measure out. And it's something that I'm in working in progress, and I'm going to be building one today for myself and to actually track it. What is the first of every month for you, Jeff and Dan as well? What are some things that you guys review in your business and even in your personal life? Sorry.
Well, what for me, I look at last month, where I was, where I needed to be, whether or not I hit those goals and objectives, and then that's like a carryover. It's like sick time at work. You get to carry that over to the next month, and like vacation time as well. Well, the same thing happens with those goals and objectives. If you don't meet them, you're going to carry them over, and then you're going to write new goals and objectives for this month that we're in now, and you just start checking them off. So that's what I do. Did I meet all my goals and objectives last month? No. I talked many times about a finish line. In this business, there is no finish line. There's just extended goals and objectives, because that's what we need to do to succeed in this business. So
Awesome. What about you, Dan,
Interesting.
brother?
That's a good one. I'm looking every week at what I wanted to accomplish in the month and where I'm at and how I'm getting there and what I need to do to get there next. Beginning of every month, I typically look at what can I deploy in my personal life and business life? Like what one or two things, traits, skills can I work on for me to be better by the end of the month? And I typically focus on those. And it's come from the fact that if you get up every day and do everything you can towards your goals, I mean, you're going to succeed, whether it be this month, next month, personally, business, financially, it doesn't matter. You're going to
Right.
succeed. And it's taking the opportunity to sit back and say, okay, if I missed last month, what did I miss? And what are the audibles I should have called? Because I think we can all at least comprehend or have been part of, mid-month, you're like, it's not working, but you don't change anything towards the end of the month. Because it's kind of like a golf swing. I don't know if you guys have ever been at the top of your golf swing and you're like, this feels so wrong, but I'll fix it on the way down, right? And you never fix it on the way down, you shank it. And I think in life and business, there's certain things that happen to us and we reflect immediately. And on those reflection points is when we got to make a change, right? We can't say, okay, well, you know what, I'll just correct it over the next couple of days till the end of the month. It's like, why are you not 75% through your goal by mid-month? What was it that was holding you back? Was there a skill you needed to learn? So maybe you take a day or two to learn that skill, and now you've amplified that productivity by 10 folds. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what I'm doing weekly. At the beginning of each month, I decide on 2 books I want to read, and I decide on 2 skills I want to improve on. And then I make that kind of my goal for the month, plus all my business and personal goals on the other side.
Yeah, and Dan, like that's exactly what I kind of do as well. Like every month, the first of the month, I took really yesterday to kind of start planning for like this month as well, and just adding simple things. And I think even like I think my stuff was more like in my personal life. Something as simple as making sure I take all my vitamins for 30 days. Or something that as simple as having a meatless Monday or having a fruit smoothie every day, right? And those are the little things. And one thing I've learned, especially reading Atomic Habits by James Clear, is that you want to make your habits so easy that you can't avoid them, right? Because let's say your goal is to start like a podcast or like a YouTube series. It's so daunting, right? To get that courage to do it. But if you start by, hey, maybe if I post like a 10 to 15-second clip every single day, then it kind of just adds up in the mountains. And one thing that I really like in terms of like business wise is I don't know about you guys, but every first of the month, I like to clean up my emails. My inbox, I clean that up, just make sure I'm starting on a fresh slate and I'm ready to go. And then another thing too is like, Dan, I've kind of learned this from you, is that prime yourself by talking to your customers. Like I talk to my customers weekly, but my conversation at the beginning of the month, whether it be customers, prospects, even my own team, it's different. It's more personal focus. It's like, what are you guys kind of trying to accomplish for? Because as you guys kind of know, where all of us are experienced, I truly believe that once you can connect with somebody personally and you're congruent, then the business will come, right? So you never have to force the business coming. What do you guys kind of like in terms of like your own personal? I know Jeff, you said you want to get moving a little bit more this month, as you did on the weekend, and as well as with you, Dan. With everything that's kind of going on with you, but what are some tasks that you guys have assigned yourself specifically for November? Because I know you guys might say different things for it, but I'd love to get your thoughts on those.
Well, I'll just add something to what you said, Ryan, before we answer that. When I first started looking at podcasting, it was actually years ago that I first started looking at it. And I remember speaking to one of my mentors, and I said, how do you add something else to this ever-growing pile of things you need to do and not miss? Because consistency is the number one thing in life. Like whether it be from what we're doing, consistency, or consistency in selling and prospecting and closing deals and being there for you, like it's all consistency. Yeah. And he said, Dan, anytime you're going to do something new, it has to be so seamlessly integrated into your schedule. He goes, otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to do it for a week and then you're not going to do it. And so when he started his podcast, he had a 15-minute drive to work. His podcast was called Marketing from My Car. And he would get in his car, he'd turn on his iPhone and he'd start talking. When he got to work, he'd turn it off and he'd go in and he'd upload it. And that was his podcast. He says, I drive to work Monday to Friday. So it's not doing it. He goes, normally I'll listen to the radio. Instead of listening to radio, I'll talk. Maybe I'll talk for 5 minutes. Maybe I'll talk for 7. Maybe I'll talk for 15. And then when he got to the office, it's like a 3-second upload. You know that with Buzzspread, it's like 3-second upload, little bit of detail, bang, and there's his podcast. So when we're adding these things into our life, it's important that they seamlessly integrate with what we're already doing. Because that's where I think a lot of us fail at our desires or our goals, right? Like the perfect example would be going to the gym. Somebody says, it doesn't even have to be New Year's resolution. Like, you know what? I'm going to start going to the gym after work. And to me, after work does not fit into your regular routine, because in our business, work could end at 5 o'clock. It could end at 6 o'clock. Sometimes it can end at 7 o'clock. Sometimes you're so beaten up from the day, you don't even realize it. For me anyways, when I started at the gym, it was mornings. Like the first thing I do in the morning. So I got an hour less sleep in order to go to the gym. And to me, that was the way to seamlessly integrate it into my schedule. Some people I know, a friend of mine at the old office I worked at, he wanted to start getting exercise. So what he did is he decided he's going to walk for his lunch hour. So at noon every day, he picked up his cell phone. He just left the office and went for a walk. that's integrated into his schedule because he's already at the office. He has an hour lunch. You know what I mean? All these kind of things add.
And you know what? They're just stacking these, right? And that's one thing that is a big component from Atomic Habits. It's like stacking it, right? Like you're gonna do something. You're gonna brush your teeth, like Lisa mentioned. Like she's gonna floss teeth, right? So do it before you brush your teeth. You know, it's gonna come second nature. It's all about really stacking. And I love that you're bringing this up because it's nothing new. You know, this is something that like you mentioned, you talked, this was years ago in corporate, but these are strategies that are kind of just getting moved on and forward. And like Jeff, like what you've kind of seen for yourself that's kind of worked and like basically adding, or even for you guys, I'll ask you guys this question. Do you guys even remove habits from like the last month or the previous month that just didn't work for you guys?
Well, it all depends on what habit you're talking about. You know, you could create a habit that's really not working, and you do it every single day, and you're like, nah, you know what? Let's get rid of this. Let's create a new habit and continue that next month, or even the next day. You don't have to wait for a new month or start something new. But I look at it as, you know, every day I start my day off with a smile. Every day. That's a habit. I wake up and I'm glad I woke up. I smile and I set my mindset to be positive. You know, I remove that toxicity, that negativity and everything. I look at life as like a pyramid, you know, and I wrote this down. Some people see a pyramid like this, right? Well, I see it differently, right? I see it like this. And the reason is that there's a pinnacle, right? At the top of a pyramid, there's a point. And at that point, you're kind of like, okay, I've met my goals and objectives. But if you look at it this way, instead of going this way, you expand your horizon, you expand more things that you need to create in not just your business, but your personal life, to make you a better person. Because if you start really defining everything, so close, like you need to get right there. You know, this is the point. This is the pinnacle in my life, in my business, and my personal life as well. I've reached it. But no, if you turn that around and you just be so broad and you keep on writing those things. That's why I keep on saying there's no finish line in the logistics industry. There really isn't when you think of it. There's just so many different routes that you can take within it. It just all depends on what you want to do. If you're happy where you are and you're just, like you talked about slow living before we got on, right, in the back room, you know, if people want to get into that comfort zone and stay there and just be whatever they want to be for that moment for the rest of their life, that's fine. That's a life choice, right? But for those high performance people, they never get to those points. They're always looking and creating new and better things for them in order to get to even bigger and better goals. So you're not going to do that by just, you know, staying with the norm. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, that's the way that I look at it. I never stay in the norm. Every day is different.
And there's also a point. It's just like leveling up your skill when you level up your business and when you level up your life.
That's all
habits that served us a year ago, 6 months ago, don't serve us now.
No.
And it's just the way the evolution of us as sales reps, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as people, right? We move. Some stay stagnant, some go down, some move up. And if you make the choice to move up, it's a matter of consistently raising the bar. And even as simple as that call didn't go so well. Why didn't it go so well? When they said this, I said this. What should I have said? And I've always said, if you want a lesson in like just like stickiness, and if you want a lesson in perseverance, write and that answer out and read it 100 times straight, like without 10 times and then going to get a coffee and come back. Like, what did they say? What did I say? What could I have said to make it better? This is your new rebuttal, and read it. And it's called a sales audible. And do that at all times in your life. Do that with every part of your life. Like, I have a weekly life audible. I have a weekly sales audible. I have a weekly business audible. And I take the time every Sunday to sit down and say, I rate myself on my personal life, on my business life, and everything every Sunday. And a lot of Sundays I sit back and I go, whoa, I thought I was rocking it this week, but holy shit, I sucked at family life this week. Because you got to be honest with yourself, right? Like no true transformation or no true growth comes unless we're honest. And it's just like golf. You don't get better at golf until you're honest about your scores. And you don't win when you lie in this situation, or when you try and tell yourself something that's not accurate. Like, you ask yourself, did I do this right? 1 to 10. Did I do this right? 1 to 10. Did I spend enough time with my spouse? 1 to 10. Did we have great conversation? 1 to 10, or are we just like zombies staring at a TV? And then when you get those answers, it's, well, what am I going to change next week? Like, let's forget about beginning of the month. What am I going to change now?
Right.
Because I've said this for eons. It's the application of the information that changes us. You hear a great quote and you're like, oh my God, that quote is so inspirational. What are you going to do now to make that quote worthwhile? What are you going to do now? That quote inspired you to do what? To sit here and have a dopamine drip for 3 minutes and go, that was awesome. Okay, I'm going to go back to screwing the pooch. No, what did it do? What did it bring out inside of you to make that change? And then now, do it now, and do it over and over and over again. We talked about habits a couple of weeks ago, I think, where we were saying, what chicken before the egg, or whatever, however we phrased it. I forget that, but it goes back to that. What do you want to do? Because here's the thing. In life, in business, we have to invest. I used to say sacrifice, but I don't believe it's sacrifice. I don't believe there's ever a sacrifice if you're trying to be better and do more and achieve more. I think it's an investment. And the way I look at it is, okay, do I have to invest an hour in business tonight that would normally be family time in order to accomplish X, hypothetically? Okay, I do. So I'll say, honey, I got to get this done. It's going to be like an hour. I'm going to put on a timer, and I got my time thing there. I flip my sand clock there. I flip it, and I say it'll be an hour. But maybe we can, when I'm done, go get a coffee or like do something other than what we did. So you're like flip-flopping all the time because you got a big proposal due. Hey, you guys have been there. It might take up some of your family time. That's just what it is. No matter how conscious we are about it, if we have something due that's for the benefit of our business, our career, and ultimately our family, we have to find the time to do it. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I would wait till the family went to bed, and I'd stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning working, trying to not, trying to not use up that family time when the kids were younger, but put them to bed, and my wife would go to bed, and then I'd sit at the computer and I'd work, and there'd be mornings my wife would come in and I'm asleep at the computer because I'm trying to build a business. You know what I mean? And it's difficult. It really is difficult, but we got to do it sometimes. And it's, I don't know. I think it's a matter of really formulating like where you're at and what needs work. But I don't know if every month, I think it's too long. Because I think if you're neglecting something, whether it be in your business or whatever, I want to know within like 48 hours.
Well, I disagree with I agree with some of the points, but I disagree with it in terms of like the month, because I think like, okay, so as a sales rep, we get our numbers, right? We get our numbers, and we should know our numbers going forward, and we make those little tweaks in before there. But if let's say you're not at 75% of your monthly goal by like week 2, you're not going to come off desperate, right? You're probably going to put in more activity, but you're not going to like go back to customers and kind of just be so like commission breath, right? And kind of go for that. But I think like the new month, and like you're kind of talking about like the family life, I think in terms of like for me personally, like I don't sacrifice that. My family life is number one, and it's based on my goals. If this makes sense, I base my business goals around my family life and what I want, right? Because he said like you mentioned you put the kids to sleep and go to bed at 3 o'clock, but for me, Dan, 8 hours for me of sleep is non-negotiable. I don't care what anybody says. Like, doesn't matter what I have on the docket. It will get done, but my health is most important, and we've all kind of learned that this year. Your health is foremost and things like that. But a comment that I saw here that I like a lot is saying that they've upgraded their habits. And when I saw that comment, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this, is that upgrading your habits, what that looked like for me is last month I meditated every day for 5 minutes. This month I'm going 10 minutes. Next month I'm going to go 15 minutes, and doing those increases from there. And coming back to like sales itself, like that might look like, hey, prospecting maybe 5 more calls. Like I know, Dan, you guys are big believers of making that 1 more call, right? How does that look for you guys when you kind of hear that phrase, hey, upgrade your habits?
Geez, I'm starting that today. Okay. there's two sides of me, right? You got two sides of everybody. You have the mental aspect and then you have the physical side, right? I believe that I have a high performance mental being where I need to be. However, physically, I'm sluggish. I feel like shit. I mean, I'm putting more into my business and not thinking about my own personal health. And today, I'm starting my new diet and everything. And when I get my mind set on things, those goals and objectives will be met, non-negotiable, because I can't keep this pace at a high performance level if my body's not in tune with up here. You have to be a single unit. I mean, this is your temple, right? And if you're not whole, both physically and mentally, you're not going to be able to keep that pace up. I don't care who the hell you are. It's just not going to happen. And I realize that. I mean, I'm in bad shape. And, you know, my honest integrity, I say it all the time. I tell it the way it is, man. I feel like crap. Mentally, I'm there. I'm absolutely there. Now, I've got to take that mental aspect about the business and put that same thought process into my physical well-being. And I will able to do that. So that's my new habit. I need to do that. I have my goals and objectives. I'm going to go at it slow. I can't run anymore, bad knees, but I'll figure it out, you know? So when
you can do bike or you can swim or you can
right,
do that kind of
exactly,
stuff, which
exactly.
is
So when you upgrade, yeah. So when
Start
you
dancing
upgrade
again.
your habits, that's what I'm doing. I'm upgrading a habit and I'm getting rid of a bad habit, you know, because I mean, I'm sitting here all day long, you know, I'm looking at screens, I'm thinking of things and everything. I don't get off my ass and I have to do that. So today's a whole new thing. So maybe you'll see it physically in the next couple of months or whatever. I don't know. I have to do that. So it's tough.
get one of those little bikes for under your desk.
Well, I want to get one of those, you know, those platform desks that actually like scissors and they raise it. And then you have those little treadmills. They're like 3 by 2 foot. And you can sit there and you can work and you can just walk. Man, I'm thinking about getting something like that as well. So when you think about those things, you know, upgrading your habits, you know, getting in the right place at the right time, it's all part of it, man. I realize it, you know, that's what other people don't realize it. You really got to dig in deep and really think about these things. You know, Ryan, you know, you want to meditate 5, 10, 15 minutes over the next 3 months, you know, then you want more family life. You want to separate that, you know what you're doing on that side. You know, I know
No,
what
my big mission is eating. That's
eating. Yeah. Well, there you go.
My big mission is starting to eat.
Of course.
You know, Jeff, I got to ask you a question because I think this is going to hit everybody dead center of the forehead. So, you know, you need to do this.
Yes.
It didn't just hit you last night. How
No,
long have you been saying to yourself, I need to do it and I need to do it, and you haven't done it? And what was that's it, final drop? Got to do it.
7, 8 months, easily, if not longer than that. I just procrastinated. I procrastinated. I was afraid. I'm older now. I used to run 30, 40 miles a week. My knees are gone. So it was just that you're saying to yourself, you know, I used to do all this stuff. I can't do this now. How am I going to do this? You know, and you're always doubting yourself, you know, until, you know, you start feeling it and you start paying attention to your feeling, you know, and then once you do that, you're like, this is bullshit, man. I've got to change this habit. This is not good. So, you know, and I've been telling everybody, guys, I'm changing, man. I'm starting 11-1, man. It's a whole new game. So
what was the starting
9 months?
11-1? Is it some?
Nope,
is
nothing.
It just
I just said that's it. And it's going to be tough in many different ways. Thanksgiving, you got Christmas, you got all this stuff where you know, great food, you know, I got to cut down beers. I may cut it out completely and just drink wine. I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. I always do. But I'm in for the long haul. I'm not looking for a short gain by any means. And this is just a habit that has to transfer to the business because this is one of the biggest challenges that I'm going to be facing. And I have to do it for longevity, you know, and I realize that. So if I can do this, be really tough, I'm just going to transfer that positivity right into my business. And then it's going to be one hell of an adventure after that. But
So you're doing more of a lifestyle switch, like
Oh,
a lifestyle shift. Sorry.
Yeah, it has to be.
Mhm.
It does. It's not going to be easy out there. So all you procrastinators out there, man, if you feel it, do it. Don't wait. Don't wait. You know, time goes by real fast. Look how fast the summer went. Look how fast October went. You know, November's going to be December before you know it. You know, you just keep on saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Yeah, March of next year, I'm going to do it. Right? Just do it. Do the damn thing. You know, it's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. You know, that's how you learn from all these different things. You know, take it on. Do it.
Mm. Hold on just a sec. Oh, Lisa said, my phone is cutting in and out of the show, but something you just said caught my attention. I didn't know if she wanted to have a comment added in there. You know, Jeff, I hear you there, and I think this is the route most people go, because we know as we start to lose, like if we talk specifically that health aspect, we know when we start to lose shape, we know when we start to become lethargic, when we used to be able to do this, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, 10% of it's gone. It's like, I got to make a change, and you don't, because you're comfortable, and it's, you know, avoidance of pain, pursuit of pleasure. You want to avoid that pain of exercising because you're like, well, I'm comfortable, I'm happy now. And I went through it when I first started. I was doing bodybuilding competitions, and I started in this industry. And within 4 months, I couldn't see my belt buckle when I was sitting. And I was like, oh my God, what happened here? Like, this is crazy.
Exactly.
And, you know, it happens. It's one of those things. And I'm always interested. And again, this is why I asked you, why 11-1?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why wasn't it the second you were like, okay, I'm done tomorrow? Why did you pick a specific date? And what is that like where you can kind of lead up to the motivation of it? Or what was the choice for you for that specific date?
Just talking to myself all the time, and just feeling it, you know, just feeling and getting tired of feeling this way. That's just the whole thing. You know, it's just like business, Dan. You know, you get to a certain point, and then you just feel it. There's nothing else I can do. But there's so much more you can do. You just don't realize it because you don't have the right mindset. So you have to put yourself in that mindset in order to succeed. And it has to do upgrading your habits, looking at your habits. What can I do to improve them? What can I change to get rid of toxicity and negativity and put more positivity in it? I can do this, you know, and it just.
But again, what was the decision for 11-1? Was that like, okay, that's a week out, and I'm gonna like ramp up my mindset to hit that week, or something like that?
That point, just getting to that point and being tired of saying it and actually doing it. You know,
so giving yourself more of a deadline to work on and say, okay, come this date, it's go time.
It's go time, right? Exactly. And I'm looking at this as a year. It's going to take about a year, if not longer. I mean, one time I lost 72 pounds in 6 months. I'm not doing it that way because I was running, I was working out, and I was, just going full tilt.
I remember when I was way out of shape almost a decade ago, I guess. And I went to the gym, and it was difficult because I used to be a bodybuilder. So it was like, I didn't want to do a personal training course or anything. And then they said, well, it came with a membership. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm talking to the guy, and the guy says, and I said, it's frustrating because I said, I can't lift what I used to lift, and I don't have the stamina. He goes, how long have you not been working out? Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, probably 7 years. He goes, so understand something. It took you 7 years to get to this point. Don't in a minute expect a month later for you to be back there. He goes, you see, we humans, we always compare that old us when we were doing something to now. And it took, if you haven't been to the gym in 10 years, it's going to suck, and it's going to friggin' hurt. And it's going to be hell and high water. The next day you're going to be lying in bed like you're in traction, and eventually it'll get better. But I don't know about anybody else, but I can remember when I hadn't been at the gym and I went back, it's like I started throwing 2 plates on right away. And it's like, and there's no way I was lifting it. But it was like, no, that's what I used to do. 6 plates on for squats. And I was like, I, whatever. And I mean, I remember going down and going, holy crap, like, no. And then I remember my buddy who used to be 2 doors down from me, who was number 2 in North America for strength training and conditioning. He actually was the guy that went to Russia and trained the Russian hockey trainers for the Russian hockey team. Trevor, he said to me, dude, no, like literally start with body weight.
Yeah.
He goes, and just ease into it. He goes, because what you're doing is, sure, maybe you can lift it for 3 or 4 reps. He goes, but tomorrow morning, you're going to wish you weren't alive. And he goes, and then that's going to stop your progress. And again, it's what we do to consistently move the needle, right?
Yes.
So
yes. And
I wish you all the luck in the world, brother.
Yeah. So what's really good about it is, and this is true fact. So if you're an athlete at one time, it's amazing how the human body has muscle memory, and you will be able to come back, maybe not to the point of what you were saying, being a bodybuilder and getting into that physique and everything, but it's really funny how the brain and your muscles have that memory, and they do come back a lot easier than someone that's never done it before. And then they're getting into it. It's going to take a longer period. Mm-hmm. But, and like when I started running, just real quick, I didn't run for over 35 years. I ran in school and everything was very, very good across country. And I didn't run for 35 years. And then I went back out because we had a championship to lose weight. And that's where I lost the 70 pounds. It sucked. I remember hated sweating. But once I got to that sweat, I was unstoppable. Because I was like, that's it, man. And I just kept on going and going harder and harder and harder. And I got to where I needed to be. And it took shorter time, but I realized that I can't do that right now. I mean, that was 10 years ago, but, I'm in for the long haul, my friend. It's going to be.
Well, I wish you good luck, brother.
All right, thank you, man.
It's going to be definitely a play on the mind, and just keep going at it, man.
That's it every day.
And one of the biggest things too is prepping your environment. I think your environment's so important to this, right? Because outside of talking the gym and things like that, look at your closet, right? You declutter your closet. You look at your shirts that you've had for 10 years and you're like, oh no, I'll fit into that size small in give me 2 months. It's things like that, right? So I think it's really important to prep your environment, and declutter, understand what works and what doesn't work, because you keep all this baggage on you. And bring this back to sales, get rid of that customer or that prospect who's just wasting your time. Don't think that their habits are going to change or they're going to get better. There's so many other people out there, even if it's within your company. Jeff and I always kind of talk about this. Hey, if you're not being successful as if you are successful as a salary rep, but you're not happy, go start something, go start something of your own and build something yourself that's going to be for your legacy. Because at the end of the day, I know Dan and Jeff, you guys can agree, everything we do, it's for our legacy. It's what we want to leave behind, whether for the future generations or our family and things like that. So start small. I think, as Lisa kind of says, you got to baby step it.
Yes.
I know Jeff is not going to go into the gym and go 5K. That's why there's programs like Couch to 5K. Those are extremely successful plans where you go to the gym and work half a mile a day, and then you kind of go from there. But I think I know we're kind of coming to the end here, but Dan, I kind of want to get your thoughts on for habits in terms of the environments that you have for your work, right? What are some things that you've done within your own office to kind of hack your productivity?
I have all my empowering notes here. And the first one that I read every morning is, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And to me, that says, okay, what direction am I going in today? Because the more focus we have on where we want to go, and sorry to say, but the more blinders we have on, we're not going to start taking these off ramps. Mm-hmm. And for me, an off ramp, perfect example. So Ryan sent me something this morning, and he says, we got a guest coming on, check this out. So he sent me a link, and I look at the link. 25 minutes later, I'm still on that app. I haven't been on that app in a year and a half. And all of a sudden I'm scrolling through looking at videos that have nothing to do with my day. And I look up, it's like 10:02, and I'm like 10 to 9. I'm like, oh, okay, I better get on. Then all of a sudden, Restream's not working. Where normally I'd be on at 1:45, 22 to make sure everything's working. Restream's not working. Now I'm late for the show. So it happened already this morning because I hadn't sat down yet. I the last 2 nights have been pretty bad for me, from a sleeping and just a throat and everything perspective. I with the whole starting meeting last week, in Dan fashion, I went a little too far on the weekend and my throat was really sore and I could barely speak. I could barely swallow. And so I had to kind of I kind of went gung ho forward and I kind of got pushed back by a week or two. Yeah. So it was like now I'm back to waking up in the morning and deflemming my entire throat and my nasals and everything just to kind of get clear. So long story short, I got thrown off track already today. Right. And it happens in a split second, And it's that consistent reminder. And if you don't know where you're going, any road will get me there. I had no idea where I was going this morning. And I went off on all these sort of cool roads. And Ryan found a great person to come in on for Thursday. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I'm looking like, yeah, she's great. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're onto this, then you're onto that. And all of a sudden you're like 14 swipes deep in the app. And it's like, and then all of a sudden 30, 40 minutes has gone by. It happened. But I was like, Ryan, we were texting. He's like, we'll wait for you. And I'm like, no, go live because you guys deserve to have the show start at 9 and I'll join in. It happens. Yeah. So now I'm very much aware of it for the rest of the day because it happened first thing in the morning. It's when we're not aware of it. It's when we have the whole week go by. And I know we've all been there. And at the end of the week, you're like, man, I kind of screwed the pooch this week. Like I didn't do this. I could have done that. Next week, I'm coming out and I'm coming out hard. Yeah. It's identifying that today, right now. Because I think that's where we really stop and hold ourselves accountable. And I'll be the first one to say, yeah, I mean, I screwed up. I spent 20 minutes doing, and it was useless. Like totally useless. I mean, I'm telling you, totally useless. Some golfer hitting a crocodile to go back in the water. Like, how is that going to impact my day? Like, and how is that going to help me get to my goal? Like, you know what I'm saying? But we all do it. Right? That's
and I love that you say that, Dan, because
the whole day because
send me that link. I want to see.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I love that you said that because think about it. Let's reverse engineer that a little bit. Think about it from the other side, right? Like that social media website got you back on their website for 20 to 30 minutes. So that's a win for them, right? And that's what they're meant to do. Like, that's their habit. They're supposed to pull you in and, oh my God, let me look at this cute dog video. Let me look at this meme and stuff like that. But you look at that. So if you reverse engineer that and you kind of look at it, you're like, okay, well, they were successful in bringing me onto this app and having me here for 20 minutes. How can I do that for my business? How can I do that in my personal life? How can I get addicted to my own life? And I think that's amazing.
Next time, just send me a summary instead of a link.
Yeah. You know what? I'm a visual person, as you can kind of tell, right? But you know what? Here's the funny thing. You'd probably go on Google and start reading and you get in that loop too, right? Because like it's different mediums, right? So I think it's awesome there. But boys, I know new month, new me, it's one of those things that I think is like really important. Like whatever journey you're out in your life, that to always kind of, hey, if it's a fresh slate and it's a fresh start for you, take it, and just measure yourself, as Dan says, like monitor yourself weekly, do it monthly, do it yearly, but do what you got to do to be the best version of yourself. And that's all the three of us want to be, just the best version of ourselves.
I like what Chad's saying here. He's saying, I listen to music in my car. Eventually, I found that inspirational music served me more. Then I transitioned into inspirational content, and now it's relevant content in business and family. Zig Ziglar said something that really changed my life. He says, I go to Automobile University every day. And every time he got in his car, he'd put on something inspirational or a business topic and now with like audiobooks and all these things. I mean, when I used to drive an hour and a half, an hour every day into work, it was always like Zig Ziglar, Ed Foreman, Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, Seth Godin, all the big guys, and just listen to what they have to say. And sometimes you zone out. right? And you're just kind of driving and you zone it. And then, but when you're in tune with something, then all of a sudden it raises to that awareness that you're able to hear it. And then you dip back into it. And, I love that. And the big thing about it is it's got to be daily. It's like showering, right? You got to do it daily.
Flossing your teeth for Lisa.
What's that?
Or flossing your teeth for Lisa. You got to.
I mean, listen. Okay, so I asked you guys, how many of you guys floss your teeth once a day?
I do twice. Yeah, and it's a. You know what? I've stacked it. I've stacked it with brushing my teeth.
You guys are freaks of friggin' nature because most people don't floss their teeth. Very
well. You know what? Here's a hack for everybody who wants to floss. Get the water flosser. Get a water pick.
Water pick.
Yeah, I use a water pick, and I use the sticks too. But you know what? It's one of the important moments. Well, let's look at that too, right? The reason I floss is that I can reduce my trips to dental, right? Because as we get older, once we lose our dental health, then who really wants to be wearing dentures or anything like that, right?
So it works. It definitely works, man. I haven't had a cavity in my mouth since I was 14.
And just one last thing before we kind of think, because I love Chad and Dan, exactly what you said about you have that time anyways. Like you mentioned, even with your friend, they had that 15 minutes. So use that time, to kind of be productive and do something. Like for me, I'm not a big audiobook fan. I find all that stuff kind of boring, but I'll listen to inspirational music. So I'm priming myself. I'm getting ready, right? Like before I make calls, I'll hit on some gangster rap
song.
My favorite song, Annie Up by MOP and Busta Rhymes, because it's a fight song. It's ready to let's go to war. Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Jeff, what's your favorite song? What song pumps you up?
My genre is beyond it. I always listen to heavy metal and southern rock.
What song is it?
All of that. I always get. What's that?
What song? Is there one specific song?
There isn't. I mean, because my genre is just across the board, and my list on my phone. I probably have 300, 400, 500.
What's number one on? What's the first song on your playlist? Then you got to know that one. Because I know you're not a shuffle guy. You're a very organized guy. Are you guys shuffle guys, or are you guys like go through the playlist?
No, I have specific songs I want to hear in a row.
Yeah.
Oh my God. One that comes Running with the Devil, Van Halen.
Love that one.
Well, let's see. Marshall Tucker, Outlaws. Oh my God. Led Zeppelin, Dio. I mean, I'm across the board. I can't really specifically name a specific song. Three Dog Night I listen to too, or Till Tuesday, or oh my God. I mean, just name it. I listen to disco too, man. I mean, it's just everything.
So for me, it's when I wake up in the morning, the first song I listen to is Don't Blink by Kenny Chesney. Which is a song about how life just like flies by, don't blink, and then I put on next would be Nickelback, Burn It to the Ground, because that for me is like one of my favorite songs. And then If Today Was Your Last Day. So I have a couple of those, and then I listen to Sounds Like Something I Do, Until You Can't. There's a ton. I probably have 9 or 10 that I just put on. And it's like, it's for me, that just fires me right up, right? Especially when, especially for Kenny Chesney, Don't Blink. He's talking about a guy that's 102 years old. And they say, what's the secret to life? And he says, don't blink, because it goes like this. And, when you hear that and you really take it in, and then you start to say to yourself, shit, I'm 45. Where did 2022 go? Like Jeff said, October's gone already.
Year's done, man.
November, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, holy shit, I blinked. And we're here. And Lisa says Eminem. Love Eminem. Love Eminem. Love him, would you take your shot or would you let it slip? All of those things to me mean something, because when we internalize them, one shot, one opportunity. Would you what did you say? Would you capture it or would you let it slip?
Yeah, that was like seize the moment or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and as much as people say, come on, it's true. When I was speaking with the group of young entrepreneurs last week about opportunities, when you start to, because I got asked to create an hour conversation and an hour thing on productivity, on opportunities. It got me thinking of opportunities and saying to myself, oh my God, I missed that opportunity because I didn't follow my advice. I missed that opportunity. Oh my God, I took that opportunity. It was a wrong opportunity. It actually diluted my goals. So it's that consistent moving. And then there's always a song that moves you.
Yeah,
right?
there is
Always a song that moves you. Like Cody Johnson, Till You Can't. Right? So he goes, you can go, you can tell your dad you don't want to go largemouth fishing today. You're just too busy to tie a line and hook a worm until you can't. Take that call from your mom and talk to her, because when you can't, you're going to miss it. Right. Yep. Chase your dreams, because your dreams won't chase you back. So it's like, when you listen to it, and some people are like, oh, country music, it's all like, they stole my dog, I lost this
pickup truck,
Yeah, pickup truck and all this.
Beers in the bed.
Yeah, but it's true. There's a lot of songs that ring true, right? And even that Cody Johnson song, Till You Can't, like when I first heard it, I was like, oh my God, yeah, like, yeah. Let's do this. Let's go. And it's like, and again, this I go back to this every single time. What was the action you took right when that hit you? Because that's when things happen. I'm sorry. That's when things happen. When these ideas hit us and when this motivation goes bang, and it's like the tires are just spinning, that's when you have to take that first action if you want it to stick. So it's like, what do you do when you get fired up after hearing that song? Because that is going to be the motion that creates the motion for the next level of your life. That's what I truly believe.
Yeah, and then also understanding, like sometimes a song is just a song, right? It's just to put you in that mood of like, I'm happy, I'm doing really good, and kind of like reflection. Because how many times, like, music is like the best thing ever, because there's so many times you can hear a song and you're like, oh my God, it takes you back to high school, takes you back to as a kid, take you back like to your wedding and all those different things, right? So I love that. And I know we're gonna be wrapping up here because like it's amazing talk. And one tip that I want to share,
ever hit half an hour anymore?
I don't know, who cares, man? It really doesn't matter. We're not paying for airtime, right? We're not on on the news. But one sales tip for everybody kind of doing today is that search back through your inboxes, search back through your LinkedIn, search back through your call recordings if you record them, and search the word November. So maybe there's opportunities that you've left on the table where, hey, our customer said, hey, give me a call back in November. You should have been following up before then, but if you haven't, just do those searches, and definitely stay on track with those today, because I think that's going to be really important to not let anything kind of slip through the cracks if you have.
True.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So with that, boys, I want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. Dan, always a pleasure. Is killing it this morning. Jeff, always a pleasure to be with you guys. We're going to be hitting the replays again at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern time on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter as well. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, because we got the master of data. We got Dean Crook with us to tell us the week in review of what's been going on.
Is tomorrow already Wednesday?
Tomorrow is Wednesday, my friend. You miss one day, and that's what happens, my friend. So,
dude, I slept until almost 11:45 yesterday. Like, wow. Just my Sunday night was hell. Like, just hell. I couldn't sleep. I go downstairs in the living room, turn on the TV just to try and get like white noise. I mean, from literally, I went to bed at 9:30, and I think by 11 I was up until 6. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to crash. Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. Just everything inside was just like, ears are healing now, and the back of the mouth is healing. So there's all this pain and everything running. Oh, it was just so uncomfortable, because you put your head on the pillow and it was like, oh my God, somebody's crushing my head with a vice. It kills, right? It was just like, oh. But I refused to take any meds because I hate opioids, and I was on them for so long during treatment. I would rather not sleep and sleep during the day. Doesn't go with what I want in life. So anyways, thank you for doing that yesterday, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
See you guys tomorrow.
All right. Have a good day.
Centurion Trucking. Our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking and start